All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Andre Ward gives his thoughts about Shakur Steveson and says that he believes that Shakur Steveson can definitely be an all-time great. And he talks about why that is, but also he speaks about something related to the villain role that Shakur Steveson may or may not have to adopt. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. So, Andre Ward is a commentator for ESPN, and he is also a a manager for the 126-pound WBO champion, Shakur Steveson. Shakur Steveson, the night before last, won his match against Caraballo in the comeback of boxing to ESPN. As you know, we've not been able to watch boxing or mini sports at all on ESPN or other channels because of the virus that spread throughout the world and the quarantines and all the stuff that took place. So it was really refreshing. And I truly, truly enjoyed watching Shakur Steveson, watching Jared Allen. I didn't get a chance to see Robbie Robinson, the Cuban Olympian that had a first round knockout on the undercard for Shakur Steveson. But all in all, really enjoyed the fight. Really enjoyed the presentation of the fight by ESPN. Loved the conversations that were taking place on ESPN. I don't have to think eye to eye as everybody on a particular subject. As long as the subject is actually addressed and is honestly addressed and it's not just swept under the rug or dismissed or not mentioned. Hey, I'm 100% okay with that. And that was the case in the fight card for Shakur Steveson. Now, after the fight, I believe it was Fight Hype caught up with Andre Ward and got Andre Ward's thoughts of the fight. And he talked about a few things, and we're going to cover those things in this video. The first thing that we're going to talk about is that he believed that Shakur Steveson can be an all-time great fighter. And he talked about the things that he needed to do in the next level of development for Shakur Steveson. And then after that, he spoke about, the next thing that I want to talk about, and it relates to Shakur Steveson, is the villain role that Andre Ward talked about on ESPN, and something that obviously he felt was something that inhibited him, that prevented his career from going as far as it should have gone. And then if Shakur Steveson is not going to take the villain role, right? Not the victim role. I was going to say the victim role, but the villain role. If he's not going to take the villain role, then hey, he's going to have to do it in a way, that is going to be tough. He's going to have to, if he's not willing to take the villain role, he's going to have to fight everybody. And that starts with a certain somebody that is in his weight division. And so let's go through those. So first, Andre Ward, what did he say about Shakur Steveson? Now, he said first that he thought Shakur Steveson looked great in the fight. He said that, he looked sharp, he looked crisp, all things considering, he was very, very happy. And then, like the true teacher that he is, he talked about what it was that he needed to, what the next level of his development was. And I actually saw some of the things that Andre Ward was talking about Shakur Steveson developing. I actually saw those in that fight. So the first was that he said that the two specific things that he talked about was Shakur Steveson being able to fight at mid-range and being able to fight up close. So right now you can see, and that's the case. I think that's the case with a lot of really good young fighters. And I think a lot of the things that make the fighter look exciting to us is what they can do on the outside, fighting at a distance, fighting with a jab, moving side to side, slipping, countering, all those type of things, but basically happening in a way where you are in and out of the range, the arm length of your opponent. So mid-range would be when you get a little bit closer inside, right, to it, where you're still within arm's reach, but you're slipping, you're able, like the James Toney. James Toney, I believe, is somebody that was really excellent to watch fight on the mid-range and in close. And then obviously in close is when you're in the clinch or up close to their body. So that would make somebody that can fight on the inside, somebody can fight at mid-range, and somebody can fight on the outside. Man, that makes you a very well-rounded fighter and very difficult for somebody to do something with. Now, examples of somebody that can do all of that, perfect example of that is Andre Ward. And Andre Ward, in my opinion, is been he's one of the most underrated fighters. He's the most underrated fighter in this century, in my opinion. If you were to ask the average people out there, who's the greatest fighters of since the year 2000, let's say Manny Pacquiao, let's say Floyd Mayweather Jr., you might have, some people throw in the Klitschko's or something like that. You'll have people say Vasily Lomachenko. Nah, man, you can't come up with that list without saying Andre Ward. Because Andre Ward ain't fought lost a fight since he was 12 years old. He fought top level competition. He killed the boogeyman. And so Andre Ward is that type of guy, but in the ring, it was because he could do all those things. Now, unfortunately, and this is a transition onto the second thing that we want to talk about in the video, is that Andre Ward was hampered because he would not play the villain role. Now, the subject matter of the villain role did not come up in the conversation with Fight Hype, and Ben Thompson, I believe is his name. It came up in the ESPN broadcast. I hadn't actually been able to see it. I got to watching the fight a little bit right as it was going off, but it was later posted, and now I was able to see what Tim Bradley had to say and what Andre Ward had to say, and it was really powerful. It was pretty powerful stuff, man. It was, and it was Tim Bradley and Andre Ward hit me in that. Now, Andre Ward, because he talked about the villain role, he used a specific incident of what he considered to be racism in boxing. And it came with the way that fighters are sold. Now, he was offended during his career that if you could not play the bad guy, if you were not going to be, if you were not going to act in a way that fits the stereotype of black people, that they would not sell you, because I don't believe that they believe that it's realistic, right? And I won't get into that. The Patreons will understand why I say this, because I'm doing a series on the Patreon on this about what black is and what it is not. But suffice it to say for this video that it includes a set of preconceived notions that are attached to you because you have color in your skin. And when these promoters are trying to sell a fighter to the mainstream boxing fan, right? Not necessarily the hardcore, but the mainstream boxing fan, they believe as if that they have to play on or sell those stereotypes, right? They want the fighter to become an exaggerated version of the negative stereotypes associated with being black. For example, somebody that is, give them a little money, they're wearing flashy cars, flashy gold, that's, many people see that, all that boisterousness and extravagance and, the aggressiveness. I'm going to F you up. I'm going to da. You know what I mean? All of that stuff, going in and out of jail, right? All of those things that you see will help you be popular as a boxer. Look at the career of Adrian Bronner and Floyd Mayweather Jr., right? They did it in different ways, but pretty much they are like over the top caricatures of black stereotypes. Now, Andre Ward said that he wasn't going to engage in that because he was a Christian, He is a Christian. So he never sold himself in that manner during his career, with the exception of one time that he did it. And he did it and it got him out. The fights that got him out of the sport of boxing. The first one was the only time that he was willing to do that at all. And that was when he talked about his background and the fact that his mother and father were both involved in drugs and that he was separated from his mother and all, the turmoil in his early life, right? That fits the stereotype. That first Kovalev fight was the only fight before or since that I heard Andre Ward engage in that. So, but he did it for what? For the payday. The paydays that got him the $10 million or whatever it was that allowed him to cash out of the sport of boxing. But if Andre Ward was that villainish type of person with the skill set that he had and the ability that he had to fight, he believes that he could have made and should have made a lot more money. His skill set is definitely on par with the Canelo Alvarez is, with any of these guys that are making gigantic sums of money. So the question is, will Shakur Steveson follow that route? If Shakur Steveson isn't going to follow that route, and I don't believe that he is, most likely he will not. I hope that he does not have to, and it can be just that he is just another level fighter that people can support. But if he's not, if he's not going to do it, then hey, he's going to have to win and get his accolades the way that Andre Ward did, and that is by fighting the best fighters that are out there. And I say, hey, why don't you just start with Gary Russell Jr.? That seems to me to be the guy that you can get to the point where you're like, hey, man, there's just no doubt this guy's the best. We're going to have to put him on, or you're going to sit around or have him, just sit around and get stepped over and all that. And I don't think that would happen with Shakur Stevenson. At least I hope that it wouldn't. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.